God damn it, YouTube. We got a bunch of videos that we gotta go ahead and react to, man. Then I'll post some more videos of Thailand. I got a few of them lined up, man. So and it's today's video, man, is how Dan Bilzerian lost everything. I don't know what the fuck he lost, but let's see. Cause he had it all, goddamn. And it's another reaction video. Rose to 5K subs. We already hit 1,000 already, you know what I'm saying? Now we just need those 4,000 watch hours, man. So it's your boy Sheila's Below, and let's get it and let go. Ooh! We gonna just go ahead and get straight to it, you feel me? Let me grab my phone real quick. Grab my phone real quick. Charge my glasses up. I don't know why that shit already loading like that. Okay, cool. You ready?
Social media is driven by aspirational lifestyles that young, impressionable people want to gravitate to. And if you have one to show off, it can increase your power tenfold, as those who wish to possess what you have will flock to find out how to get it for themselves. If there's anyone this applied to in the early social media era, it's Dan Bilzerian. By showing off a lifestyle of guns, girls, and general hedonism, Bilzerian became the...
And the way he looked, bro, when I was younger, I thought he was like tall as shit, man. This nigga little as hell, and that's how most short niggas be. Stand on that money, I'm 10.
self-proclaimed king of Instagram, and wound up promoting his...
I'm getting mad now, man, because I was at 1864 and now I'm at 1870 watch hours. So my shit only went up 6, and I'm getting mad. Because the other day, it went to like 30 watch hours. So hopefully it hit 30 tomorrow so I can be at 1,900 public watch hours. I'm trying to hit 2,000, between 2,000 and 2,500 before I leave Thailand, man. I think I can do that.
decadent lifestyle
Ew!
on some of the internet's biggest platforms.
If you asked a 16-year-old kid, hey man, if you had $100 million, what would you do? Oh, dude, I just have bitches around me all the time. I'd be jet skiing. I'd be driving around Ferraris and private jets. You're living like a life that doesn't even seem real. Does it seem real to you?
Now it seems normal, as crazy as that sounds. I've been doing it for a while, but that's actually kind of exactly what I did.
And for a long time, it probably felt like the good times would last forever. But it would eventually come to light that things perhaps wasn't as real as it was believed to be. And since the cracks initially began to show, things have only gotten increasingly worse.
What happened,
to the point
Luesta?
that he's now on the brink of ruins. It's your boy Luesta, and this is how Dan Bilzerian wrecked his own reputation. But to fully comprehend how things got destroyed, you need to first know how they were built. Dan wasn't always the muscle-bound, bearded playboy that you see today. Instead, he was a rich kid from Florida. This was on account of his father Paul Bilzerian's extensive work on the New York Stock Exchange. In the 80s, he was supposed to be a wizard when it came to business. And while he was meant to salvage companies that he was brought into, he was actually doing something known as stock parking. As a result, he would stage corporate takeovers and make off with as much money as possible. But that is by no means legal. And soon, he would find himself with an abundance of fraud and conspiracy charges. In 1989, he was sentenced to 4 years in prison and fined for 62
KFC.
including interest. But he would actually wind up serving 1 year. In the aftermath, he lost a civil suit against the SEC, which he has never paid, and now owes in excess of $180 million. But to begin with, neither he nor his family ever imagined that it was going to happen.
To give this context, really successful businessman,
Yeah.
and then the newspaper headlines are, and I think this is like the late 80s, he's indicted for like tax and securities fraud.
Yeah, I don't know all the charges. It was like, some 13D violations, stock parking. It was like him and Michael Milken, and they were like the guys that were being made an example of. And it was a time where a lot of these companies were undervalued. So the whole thing was there was a big push to, crack down on this stuff. And he got busted, Michael Milken got busted, and there's some other people. And the government, I think they made it was like a $62 million judgment against him, something like that.
So how did you find out he was going to jail?
We were driving into school, and he just, on the way to school, like he never drove me to school, so I was like, oh, it's kind of odd. And He's, yeah, I'm gonna be going away. And I was like, well, what do you mean? He's like, oh, well, you know, we didn't get this appeal. And the whole time he'd been telling me, like, you know, oh, you know, I'm not going to jail, because it was, you know, in the newspapers, the kids were asking me, so I'd ask him, and he's like, oh, no, definitely not. He was always like this crazy, like, eternal optimist.
Positive thinking didn't save him from the pen, with Dan later reflecting on seeing his dad go to prison as traumatizing. And as time went by, this experience clearly had a profound effect on how he sees the world. Imagine Dan as a kid, living among the rich, but having everyone know that his dad was a cheat. You can see why the shtick is dedicated to trying to impress poor people who won't know any better. Although his father may have fallen on the wrong side of the law, this didn't prevent him from carrying out a trust fund for Dan and his brother Brian, which had $12 million in it by the time he was 17. With his life disrupted by everything that was going on, Dan was kicked out of school as a senior for a truly ridiculous decision.
Explain what led to you getting thrown in jail your senior year.
A machine gun and a shotgun in my vehicle on school grounds would be probably what led to that.
Well, like, what are you thinking going into that?
No, you can call me an idiot.
After winding up being arrested amid all that, Bilzerian joined the military, but he would be medically discharged after breaking both legs. Most people would take this as a clear sign that the military service might not be for them, but not Dan. And instead, he tried to become a Navy SEAL.
Everybody thought that I was so crazy. I remember going in and my commanding officer was like, Bilzerian, he goes, you're supposed to be medically discharged from the military here soon, and you want me to approve a request for you to go into SEAL training. I said, yes, sir. And he goes, you know how stupid that is? He goes, you realize that we are going to be paying you disability, and we're saying that you're disabled, and you want me to approve a request for you to go to the hardest military training in the world? He goes, are you stupid? He goes, do we need to give you a psych discharge as well? He goes, what's the matter with you?
But contrary to popular belief, he never made it out of SEAL training, and in fact, he was kicked out.
So I was 2 days before graduation, got rolled all the way back to the beginning, did the whole again, and then got kicked out. That actually, to me, is one of the things that does irritate me, is when people think that I didn't serve 4 years. Like, 'cause I was in the military for 4 years. Like, I served 4 years. I did 510 days of SEAL training. Like, I finished the whole program twice. Like, I went through Hell Week twice. Like, I did all that stuff. And while, I wasn't a Navy SEAL, and I'm not expecting people to call me a Navy SEAL, it's just when people say that I didn't serve in the military, or that I quit in the SEAL training, or you know what I mean, any of that stuff, that actually does piss me off. The second time I went through, I had already done it, and I was kind of going through cocky, and I just figured, if I don't quit and I pass all my stuff, they can't kick me out. But I didn't think they could just drop you, My OIC, the officer in charge of my class, I didn't really have a lot of respect for him. We kind of butted heads, and so I probably wasn't the best team player in that class, and they gave me bad evals, and I picked up on that. And when I got kicked out, I was so over the whole thing that to me, in my mind, it's okay, I've checked this box. I did SEAL training. I finished this, so I'd climb Mount Everest, I'd done what I came to do.
While he attempted to act like it was his attitude that was the problem, the truth was that he was cut for a safety violation on the shooting range. The more he spoke about it, the more that SEAL veterans took issue with his attempts at what they saw as stolen glory. Douchebag Dan couldn't have been further from
Get in there.
being a SEAL. Yet he's the world's biggest wannabe / post.
Work today is broken. We're all working in too many disconnected apps, and it's killing team productivity.
I'm grateful that it went up.
For the first time,
But I'm pissed
They're on
off
the
that it
face
go
of
all
the
the way up,
earth
man.
and loves playing dress up. Next stop for Dan was college, and this is where his love affair with poker began. And as the cash piled up, his issues with authority persisted.
Since I was a little kid, I never want to listen to people's fucking shit. I think one of the best, most
One of the
defining
worst hairdos ever he fucking had. That shit was nasty as hell.
moments of my life when I told my professor to go f himself when I left class. That was maybe the highlight of my entire fucking life. Not fucking 10 models, not any of that shit, but telling him to get because I had made $400,000 that month playing poker, and I was not in the mood to hear his shit. And I fucking told him that. I said, motherfucker, I made more money last week than you'll make in the next 3 fucking years. So you talk to me with some fucking respect. And we had it out. And I was fucking right. And the thing that he said to me, that really stuck out was, if you're so fucking rich, what are you doing in college? And I thought about it for 6 seconds. I was like, you know what, dipshit? That's the first intelligent thing you've said all fucking semester. It's you, I'm out of here. And I walked out. The whole class went crazy. And I never forget the ride home. I was so happy.
After dropping out of the University of Florida, this is where Dan claims that his exorbitant reserves of cash that he'd soon plaster all over IG came from gambling, with Dan progressing from games in the frat house to taking on billionaires.
I was the poor guy and he was the rich guy, and I had my foot on his throat the whole time. Like, I was the one blasting and firing and bluffing, and you know, like every time you bet $1 million, you could lose $1 million. These guys would you know, have to win like 3 World Series to make 20 million bucks, and they could just knock this dude off for it in, you know, one night.
And during this era, he racked up some crazy cash.
How about the most you've ever won or lost?
I think it was like 12.8, but it was over a period of 3 games. We just kind of like,
You won or lost?
I won. Okay. Yeah, like I played and then we just left the money on the table, and you know, we played again and left the money on the table, and yeah, it was a pretty crazy one. I'll never forget it because I was sitting there and I was sitting with like over 18 million because I had bought in for some money, and I was up to 12, but I had, you know, other money that I'd bought in. And I think I'd actually lost initially, so then I rebought. And I just remember distinctly having $18 million in front of me, and we're playing no limit hold'em, and we're playing heads up, and the blinds were $10,000, $25,000. So it's, you know, real big game.
If you thought that was wild, he gave an even more astronomical figure to Joe Rogan and claimed that this is what enabled his perpetual party life to begin.
I mean, I beat one guy for like 54 million, and then, you know, I beat another guy for like 10, and, you know, so there's like, you know, some pretty
Jesus
big
Christ.
Yeah, like, you know what I'm saying? So it's like there's some pretty big, you know, wins there, and I was single, and I was just like, you know what? F it, I'm just kind of like do bucket list, like whatever, whatever I wanted to do when I was a kid, I'm just gonna fucking do it, you know, and I just did.
But what his critics immediately found suspicious was that his rise to fame in 2011 coincided with he and his brother Brian finally being able to access their trust funds. Although, according to Dan, he didn't take it, then changed his story within an instant to claim that he only retrieved a little.
I gave it all back. I gave it to my brother.
What?
I don't know. I didn't need it, didn't want it, didn't care.
How satisfying was it to you to, like, know you had the ability to do that?
Oh, well, I didn't really think about it, to be honest. It was, like, not a big deal. I don't know. I was, like, a weird person. I never wanted something from somebody without being able to kind of reciprocate, I guess. So, my dad had, like, lost me some money on some deals, so I just, you know, like, I took like, a little bit from that and gave the rest away.
And immediately, people didn't buy it. He should try that story out and sell it as fertilizer. As his IG account continued to rise to the point that he now has 30 million followers, Dan gained renown for his lavish lifestyle, with many of his advocates suggesting that he was completely on the level.
Well, he's super honest. Right. You know, that's one of the reasons. And he's bulletproof in that regard. Like, you can't f with him. Like, you can't say, hey, look at you, you're just a playboy. He'd be like, yep. Yeah, I like girls. What else? Right. You know, I'm nice.
But in the years to come, it's fair to say that comments like that would age like milk behind a radiator. From the outset, Dan fascinated people because of how he was living, even if that meant that he had 2 heart attacks at a frighteningly early age.
You had 3 heart attacks?
2.
2?
Yeah.
What caused that?
เชื่อไหมว่าเปลี่ยนมาใช้เม็ดฟูทำความสะอาดในที่เนี่ยเราให้คะแนนได้แบบล้านเต็มพันเพราะอะไรเพราะ
Dude, steroids.
Dude, you was a wild
I was a wild motherfucker, man.
Holy, you taking steroids?
Yeah.
Dick pills?
Yeah, Viagra too. Did I mention that? Yeah. Viagra, steroids, and then it was like, I've been traveling too. I came from a ski trip, so I think like the altitude and the travel and dehydration. With that, because dehydration will make your blood thicker, so will steroids. So it's like kind of like this perfect storm of whatever. In fact, I was in the waiting room for like 45 minutes. They didn't believe me that I was having a heart attack because I was so fucking young. I was like 26 or 27.
26?
Yeah.
Wow.
And even then, that couldn't slow his roll.
I actually had in the hospital. That's how fucked up I was. Like after the fucking heart attack, with all the fucking cords and coming out, we got high in that fucking hospital. And I was trying to be quiet because I had a dude right in the next row or whatever.
Dude,
I had problems.
Freaking nuts.
I had problems, yeah.
On other occasions, he wound up in some controversies, such as when he got sued by the adult actress Janice Griffith for throwing her off of a roof, and being banned by Club Live in Miami for kicking another supermodel in the face. Then there was his attempt at masquerading as a cop during the Las Vegas mass shooting.
If you hear snaps, that means it's coming by you.
hear a crack.
I heard a crack, dude. Hey, the security's boning out.
And if that wasn't damning enough footage, his decision to immediately go on Instagram Live didn't exactly help.
Fucking crazy. So I had to go grab a gun. I'm fucking headed back. Fucking so crazy. Some kind of mass shooting. Fucking guy had a heavy caliber weapon for sure. Saw a girl fucking get shot in the face right next to her, brains hanging out.
Damn.
Me didn't bring a gun. They got one of the guys. I'm headed back. I don't think there's much I can do. So headed home. For all you people texting and calling and everything, I'm fine.
I've never seen such a spoiled rich kid try so hard to be a badass. As for the cop thing, it turned out that he'd actually purchased some phony police credentials. After it went down, Larry Barker for KRQE investigated the agency which issued Bilzerian's police credentials and found out it was completely fraudulent. It was uncovered that a small town of only 430 people, Lake Arthur, New Mexico, established an all-reserve police force, supposedly to help keep order in the community. However, no training was required to join the force. Only a $400 fee needed to be paid. The majority of the recruits don't even live in the state of New Mexico, but none of this initially affected his momentum. And he even started branching out into the business world with ventures such as his CBD company, Ignite. At one time, he was such a star that he felt confident discussing his desire to be a leader of the free world.
Where do you want to be in 20 years?
The goal is to make a couple $2 billion in cannabis, give a bunch of it away, do some charity, spend more time surfing in Hawaii. And then I want to be president.
You want to be president of the United States?
Yeah, I think I can do it.
But it's fair to say that rather than getting the most powerful office in the country, Dan's position has been compromised to the point that bearing a few diehards, no one is checking for him, let alone aspiring to be like him in the way they once did. When it comes to the facade starting to slip away, look no further than when Dan's poor business acumen comes into screeching focus. After several years of promoting Ignite, the inherent problems that the company had in terms of how it was run, and the way that Bilzerian used it as a personal playground came to the fore. Along the way, it would also reveal that much of the Bilzerian gimmick was built on a foundation of lies. For starters, the company faltered upon going public, as Ignite recorded $25 million from proceeds of insurance of shares, $19.9 million from convertible debt, and $23.7 million from a short-term promissory note. But this wasn't just bad luck. And according to their former president, Curtis Heffernan, Ignite's cash went to pay salaries, licensing fees, business expenses, and travel expenses for companies owned by the CEO, according to the report. In a lengthy July 2020 lawsuit from Heffernan, he began to dismantle some of the myths around Dan. For one thing, he revealed that he actually rented a mansion that he had allegedly purchased.
I've been inside some of the most incredible mansions in LA.
Now, this house
but this
was crazy as hell.
31,000 square foot behemoth in Bel Air is one of the most outrageous homes I've ever been invited to see. Yes, that's a 12-foot waterfall cascading into the infinity pool and a giant outdoor gym on the roof. He reportedly paid a mind-boggling $65 million for this mega mansion.
God damn, that's a lot of money.
And he invited me over to check it out. I'm dying to see this place and find out how a guy who appears to party for a living can afford it all.
And the truth was that he couldn't afford it. In the suit over unfair dismissal, Heffernan said that Ignite paid for the travel expenses of models, something which he'd previously denied during those early days, where he was manufacturing the myth on Rogan.
Do you pay these girls to come?
No. Okay, so
That's the big misconception,
yeah, I'm
right?
addressing that on my app. I actually
You have an app.
Yeah, I got an app coming out.
Later, they detailed his outrageous spending habit. Which seem more stupid when written down in black and white, including a $75,000 paintball field and a $26,000 injection of fake followers on his IG. Suddenly, everything he'd ever purported to be was called into question, leading people to question whether he was just another guy whose entire online persona was built on a web of lies. As for the business, the biggest
It can't be, bro. Like you can't fake a lifestyle like that, bro. Like, nigga got money, bro.
problem to emerge from the Ignite finding is that it was speculated that it was run behind the scenes by his father, and over time, this would come back to bite him. To begin with, Dan would defend his decision-making,
You were using the company as your personal piggy bank, and they flagged nearly $1 million of, you know, expenses. So this was stuff like yacht rental, London trip, Star Wars set, bed frame, paintball field, vault.
So a lot of the stuff that he named, I actually paid for. So the yacht, I mean, man, that was like branding. I mean, we had the goat skull front and center in a 300-foot yacht, and I think the yacht rental was like over $1 million, and I, you know, paid for, I want to say 600-ish of it. I mean, Ignite paid for 400. I mean, you know, 300-foot yacht with 30 super hot chicks, it's like, you know, life aspirational stuff, and that was kind of the brand that I was building, was a lifestyle brand. So to me, it was like, man, that made a lot of noise. I think it's one of those things where I think also people don't really understand too much about business, and they look at it like, oh my God, the company lost $50 million in a year, and it's like, well, Uber lost $5 billion in a quarter. You know what I mean? Like, some companies lose money. Most companies lose money when they start.
And in his view, it was actually beneficial to the company for him to display wealth because he was selling an identity.
Dan Bilzerian was faking everything. I've been doing this for 10 years. Like, I was famous for being rich like 8 years before Ignite started. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, I think like the narrative, you know, the clickbait that they were running was more irritating than anything, just because it was all bull. You know, it's like, oh, Dan Bilzerian's fleeing the country, he's bankrupt. There was a decent amount of people that actually believed it, which was kind of, I mean, I guess it makes sense. You know, people are, you know, programmed to, they see it in the news and it's like, oh, this must be true.
Did it make you depressed?
I don't know how much of it was like writing the book and that and being, you know, locked in the house. You know, I mean, writing a book is not a easy thing, you know?
But even if he was intent on saying this was essentially a big deal over nothing, the damage was done to his rep as a self-made playboy meant that it was now easy for him to be dismissed by everyone. And when people had the chance to tear him down, they did so with glee. I suppose Dan's failure is a result of his 14-year-old fans finally reaching college age and feeling some embarrassment at having ever followed him. As the party image lay in ruins, Dan suddenly overhauled his life, quitting partying and dedicating himself to a life of monogamy.
Well, I think I took hedonism to the end of the earth, and I just realized that it didn't bring me happiness, so I started focusing on things that I like to do and did less of that.
I read that you were your peak with the women, for example. If you only slept with 2 women a day, you thought that was a disappointing off day, and now you're down to just 1 woman. Now, that's a pretty dramatic shift in your lifestyle, Dan.
Yeah, I mean, it was up to 9 at one day at one point. It was just, you know, it was a lot. I think a lot of that is probably fueled by insecurity from high school, not getting as many women as I wanted. Like I said, I just kind of took the pleasure seeking to the end of the earth, and with pleasure, I think it's kind of functions like a drug to where you need more to get the same feeling, and then eventually you have to do it to not feel like shit. And so, yeah, I just cut off the hedonism.
But this wasn't even the weirdest pivot he'd make, with his next decision proving to be among the most controversial things he's ever done. When Dan Bilzerian said previously that he wanted to be president, he did so without truly embarking into the political world. Aside from an endorsement of Trump back in 2016, he's actually pretty much stayed out of it. Or at least he did, until he made it his mission to personally topple Israel and the Jewish faith as a whole.
I don't like a religion that says that they're better than other people. And
Well, you do. You obviously do. It's blatant. No one watching this will draw any other conclusion. I'm staggered about how brazen you've been.
Yeah, I mean, I don't like it when people think they're better than other people. And you see that in Israel, and they're acting like that, and they're treating Palestinians like second-class citizens. They're treating them like subhuman beasts, and it sells that in their Talmud. So it says if you are not a Jew, that you are basically subhuman. And I don't think that Judaism and Christianity go hand in hand. I mean, they believe that Jesus is in hell burning in human shit, and they believe the Virgin Mary is a whore. So I don't think those are 2 religions that really intersect very well. But, you know, we've been programmed that they do, and we've been programmed that it's okay and that Jews are the chosen people, and I just disagree with that. I think everybody's equal.
Do you even comprehend how this interview is going to play out when it airs?
Yeah, I'm sure it'll be bad. But, you know, my opinion is not politically correct, but I believe that is the truth. You know, there's 2 billion Muslims, but everybody wants to, you know, promote this anti-Muslim, this hatred for Muslim, like they're all, you know, these terrorists. And I think Israelis are the terrorists. I think they are the ones perpetuating the big acts of terrorism. And, you know, nobody wants to talk about that.
And what do you say to Jewish people who may watch this and be utterly horrified by what they're hearing?
They can be horrified. I mean, I was horrified to find that they mass murdered Christians. I was horrified to learn the things that they teach in the Talmud. I was horrified that they think that Jesus is burning in shit in hell. I was horrified that they think that the Virgin Mary is a whore. I was horrified to learn that they think it's okay to steal from Gentiles. I was horrified to hear that there's, two sets of justice. I was horrified to find out that they think it's okay to, gang Palestinian prisoners. I was horrified about all those things. I'm horrified that we're funding a genocide right now. So they can be horrified.
In the wake of the ongoing genocide in Palestine, Dan Bilzerian has gone on to become a regular talking head when it comes to all matters of Israel. But at times, he's veered from making well-argued points about the political situation to going directly to conspiracy theorists who seem to have hateful views about Jewish people.
I'm not going to cut them any slack. They are overrepresented in every single category. They're crushing it across the board, and not just a little bit. I mean, I'm talking about like 3,500% overrepresented in categories. And we're talking about government, we're talking about banks, we're talking about media, we're talking about Hollywood, we're talking about all the important positions in America. They're massively overrepresented. So they're not in a victim category in my eyes in any way, shape, or form.
Creators, take these 3 apps I built to run my business made with Base 44. They're ready for you.
As a result, he's been called out by the likes of Andrew Schultz.
FBI, bad. Israel, bad. Like, we just take these, blanket statements, when in reality, we don't even exactly know what the relationship is. Like, I hear all these people, online, and please believe they're not geopolitical experts at all. They usually yell at OnlyFans girls. And now they're telling me, exactly what happens in the world geopolitically. Like, they've become... if you're a guy who used to throw parties and play poker, now you know really what the truth is in the world.
On other occasions, it's gained him some questionable fans, including the likes of Nick
Few, but we do not forget.
Daniel Roach sent $5. Dan Bilzerian is our richest grower. He's the GOAT.
He is, yeah. Did you see his tweet the other day? Huge shout out to Dan Bilzerian. He has taken on a huge risk to go out all against Israel, calling out Jews. He's totally on the money. I'm a huge supporter of his, and I love everything he's been posting. So, and people don't get, he's getting a lot of heat for that behind the scenes. So, they just love to see it. I love all the people that are coming out. If you're a patriot, now is the time for courage. And courage can be expressed in a lot of different ways, but you got to do something, You don't have to go out and broadcast it to the whole world, but if you're in politics, you have to start working for the American people.
But more than anything, what it did for Dan was let him go back into big media interviews at a time when nobody was really calling him up.
What do you mean the Jews killed JFK?
Today, a lot of conspiracy theories have all come true. I believe that Jewish supremacy is the greatest threat to the world today.
What the fuck is you talking about, man?
You do actually hate Jewish people.
If you say anything about Jewish people, you get canceled.
I'm honestly gobsmacked.
I don't have a hatred for Jewish people.
You obviously do. I'm staggered about how brazen you've been. Makes Kanye look like a choir boy.
Yeah, I just don't really give a shit.
But as he delved further into this world, there have been consequences. For one thing, he was kicked off the board for his company Ignite.
So a little life update since I started speaking out about Israel because I didn't want my tax dollars funding a genocide. They kicked me off the board of Ignite, and I started another brand, Sex Addict. And now the Canadian court is saying that I cannot promote using my name and likeness, and that I cannot compete with Ignite, which is a total crock of shit. But I will keep you guys posted. Obviously fighting it, but Canadian court cannot tell a U.S.
I ain't gonna lie. I know if I had a bunch of money, a shitload of money, this and that, all that shit. Man, I'm gonna just stay in my lane, man, and just keep doing me, bruh. I own all this damn supremacy, Jews, all that shit. If you didn't do nothing to me, I ain't gonna say nothing to you. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, so all that damn assumptions and shit. Yeah, bro, I ain't, you know what I'm saying? Just make your money. Have fun, help people in the community that needs help. You know what I'm saying? Be the voice, inspire others and stuff, and just let it be, man.
Citizen that he can't earn a living and that he cannot use his own name and likeness. But yeah, just shit that happens when you criticize.
And since then, he's been on a press tour letting the world know that he believes they're all conspired.
I mean, well, we had Jewish bankers that pulled out. We were supposed to sell the company. There was that. My Jewish lawyer completely f***ed me over in Canada. I've definitely had them literally coming for me since I took this position. And I've had tons of death threats. I've had, financial threats. I've had, extortion threats, blackmail, just everything across the board. Like they've come at me like guns blazing. And that's kind of just like solidified my position.
But now, it appears that the very company that he was ousted from is subject to an SEC audit. The SEC's complaint alleges that from late 2020 to 2021, Ignite engaged in a scheme, orchestrated primarily by his dad, Paul Bilzerian, who controls Ignite's finances and operations, to report approximately $5 million in non-existent sales of disposable vape pens as part of the company's fourth quarter 2020 results. According to the complaint, Ignite issued a series of false invoices to one of its customers for the vape pens in November and December 2020, despite the fact that the customer had never ordered the product. Once again, Dan's father finds himself in hot water with the authorities, but it's notable that Dan wasn't named whatsoever, leading some to speculate that perhaps he blew the whistle as revenge for what had gone down. In an attempt to exact his own revenge, Dan announced in November 2024 that he was suing his own father for $50 million after unlawfully being pushed out of Ignite through a series of unlawful acts. In his suit, he demanded that Ignite cease and desist from using his name and likeness, and otherwise exploiting his intellectual property rights to no avail. Elsewhere, he claimed that he's been barred from creating a competing cannabis-related business, which he's already done, via a non-compete clause that Dan claims was illegal. Now, he's seeking financial relief on 9 claims, including copyright infringement and deceptive trade practices. Whether or not this pans out for him as intended, it's clear that Dan is still hell-bent on making as much cash as possible, and this was made clear through the launch of his so-called Sigma Society.
If you look younger than your age, you might be one of us.
Boy, get your ugly ass on,
If you've never broken Sigma Society is the guy thing to help them out, give them like the roadmap and help them with just the mistakes that they're making and the bad roadmap. I mean, like I said, I think they have a roadmap that has Canada in the south, and they're, going south, and they're trying to get to Canada, and it's not going to happen. So I'm going to give them a correct map.
In this venture, he positioned himself as a pseudo-Andrew Tate-style guru, with his advice on women sometimes treading into very creepy territory.
Act as if you belong. Act as if you've talked to a bunch of hot girls. If you look at a girl like you don't need her, and you look at her like, maybe she has chlamydia.
If you have something cool in your room, take her, show her. I remember one time I asked her if she wanted to go, like, yeah, and then we started hooking. And she was like, where's the weed? I was like, oh, I don't even have any weed.
My buddy were having a conversation the other day, and like he was like, I think it's I was arguing that I think you have a lower chance of getting a serious rejection if you put a girl's hand on your dick than if you go for a kiss.
You told these girls they had to go down on your friends before they got to have sex with you.
Or fuck them or this or that. Like I was thinking like, oh, I'm not tall, so women aren't going to be attracted to me, or I'm not rich, so I can't get women, or like all these reasons why they're not attracted.
Do those things not matter?
No, they don't matter. At all. Like, at all.
And while there are no doubt some desperate people who will sign up, those who have looked into the back end of its site have learned his serves aren't as sought after as he's pretending they are. While the next available slot shows as being months away, you can already book the next day by manipulating the request. They're artificially creating scarcity. It creates FOMO. It makes the service seem more exclusive, but it feels pretty dishonest to fake being booked, punk. Especially for a program that's supposed to be about success. Pretty clever, but definitely on the shadier side. Despite the Sigma Society not exactly becoming a cultural phenomenon, Dan is still talking as though he knows everything, even if what he's saying is anything but profound.
Money gives people a big ego, man, and usually people that have had, a lot of success are, competitive. And so, a lot of people say that they don't want it, but then they see how much power it has, and then they fucking want it.
And as for staying true to his message, he insists that he cannot be tamed, nor bought out like other famous figures.
It's always funny to me to see guys like The Rock or whatever that's like still punching the narrative, still doing what he's told, still giving the speeches. Like, who's your master? Like, what the are you doing? You got $400 million. Like, what the is wrong with you? Like, why are you answering to anybody? Like, why is anybody influencing what you say? Like, be your own person. You have enough. Like, when you get to a point where like you can't spend your money, the idea of like being a slave to money is crazy to me.
But the real issue he's facing is that while he is still intent on being in the public eye, the fact that everything he's built has been cast into question over its legitimacy means that fewer people than ever see him in a favorable light. Instead, he comes off as a relic of a bygone social media age, striving for a reappraisal and a return to the financial.
So bitch ass up, man. It's your boy She Loves B. I said video. It's your boy She Loves B-Law, man. That's the end of the video. If you is watching, I don't know if you're watching or not, but if you is watching, that's Dan Bilzerian. You already know who he is, man. I won't say I grew up watching him, but I always saw him on Instagram living his lavish ass lifestyle. And this shit make me realize that this nigga is little as hell. I thought he was big as hell, showing that the beard, got the fucking machine gun, smoking all these females and stuff. Man, that boy lived that lifestyle for sure. But the lifestyle that shit I don't want. I mean, the money, cars, you know what I'm saying? That's cool, but all that other shit he doing. Fuck out of here. Like if I was to do that, like I would make videos. You know what I'm saying? I'll make videos, YouTube shit. Like, I want to definitely be like that guy when it comes to making lit videos like that. You know what I'm saying? So it's your boy She Loves B-Law, man, and we are out. On to the next video before I work out. Ew.